What's up, guys? This is EJ Holland with the Wolverine.com, and we are back with another Michigan recruiting report. We are going to be talking about the 5 biggest remaining targets still left on the board coming out of official visit season. Before we do that, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel today, get notifications every time we drop new videos, and liking our videos obviously helps us get in front of other Michigan fans. And if you're not a subscriber to the Wolverine.com, make sure to subscribe today. Use the promo code UM1. That's $1 for 2 months over at the Wolverine.com. Get exclusive recruiting information, team information, basketball recruiting, and so much more. All right, guys. So like I said, we're going to be breaking down the 5 biggest remaining targets coming out of official visit season. And obviously you have to start off with 5-star running back Savion Hyder, arguably the most important target left on Michigan's recruiting board. And when you look at Hyder, it's really coming down to a 2-team race between Michigan and Tennessee. I think a lot of the buzz around other finalists like Georgia and Ohio State has really faded. He visited Michigan on June 13th, got back to campus at Tennessee this past weekend. And now I think Hyder's going into decision mode, but he's not going to rush a decision. He's waiting. It's probably not going to come until later in the summer. That'll allow for some more business discussions. It'll allow Hyder to kind of press the reset button, not make any hasty decisions based off of visit high or anything, and really think about where he wants to play. You know, we talk about so much NIL with Hyder, and yes, that's a factor. It's always going to be a factor when you're the number 1 running back in the country, a 5-star prospect. But I think for Hyder, he's a small town kid. Relationships really do matter. Fit really does matter to him. Where he feels most at home, what can be a home away from home for him, will all really weigh into his final decision. So I think right now it's a really, really close battle. Michigan's done a fantastic job. Tony Alford has done a fantastic job of recruiting Hyder. It's really close, but Michigan is going to do everything they can to win. All right, let's stick with the skill position players and talk about 5-star wide receiver Calvin Russell. Now, going into this official visit weekend, we didn't really know what to make of Calvin Russell. Was Michigan just a pretender? Was this just a free visit? But I think Michigan has come out of this official visit weekend as a true contender in the race for Calvin Russell. You look at his other finalists, a lot of buzz around LSU, a lot of buzz around Miami. He's a Miami legacy. His mother is in the track Hall of Fame at Miami. But Miami already has several wide receivers committed. They're trending for, some guys. And it just doesn't seem like he's the priority at Miami. When you look at LSU, they already have several wide receivers committed too. He's not the priority at LSU. He is the priority at Michigan, along with Travis Johnson. Those are the 2 guys that Michigan really wants. And we'll talk about Travis here in a second. And, right now Michigan just has 1 wide receiver commit, and that's Jalen Pyle, who's a 3-star. He's ranked in the 800s. He's more of a slot guy, not really a threat to Russell or to Travis Johnson. So I think that both of those guys, and specifically Russell, just sees the opportunity at Michigan to come in, to start as a true freshman, or at least get heavy playing time, to play in an offense that's opening up a little bit more under offensive coordinator Chip Lindsey, to play with Bryce Underwood, who was ranked as the number 1 overall recruit in the country. If you're Michigan and you invest that much in Bryce Underwood, you need to invest in some weapons to surround him with. And I think Russell is a legitimate guy. And I mentioned earlier in the cycle, and you had a lot of people laugh when I was reporting that Michigan was interested in Chris Henry Jr. and they were interested in Tristan Keys and they were exploring making big runs. Well, Calvin Russell has emerged as that 5-star level wide receiver that I think Michigan will invest from a business standpoint. And he's very much a possibility coming out of this weekend. And like I said, he's not the only wide receiver who's on this list. Michigan would love to have Calvin Russell. They would also love to have Travis Johnson. Just because we're talking so much about Calvin Russell coming out of this weekend, don't forget about Travis Johnson. He's been the guy for Michigan for most of the recruiting cycle, basically the entire recruiting cycle. Like Calvin, he's a bigger body outside receiver who can come in, make an immediate impact. I think Calvin obviously is ranked higher. He has a ton of upside and athletic ability, just a freaky blend of height and athleticism. He's a D1 basketball player. But when you look at Travis, I think he's more of a polished wide receiver than Calvin at this stage, because when you look at Travis's tape, his ability to sink his hips, get in and out of breaks at his size, his ability as a route runner, I think, again, is more advanced than Russell at this stage. So Michigan obviously would love to have both Travis and Russell. And if you can have a combo of Travis and Russell and have Bryce Underwood throwing them the ball, suddenly Michigan's passing game becomes very, very exciting. All right, let's go into the trenches. Now, I easily could have gone with Malachi Lee, and he's certainly high up there. But I'm going to go with John Turntine. I think he's a guy that Sharon Moore has personally put in a lot of time into this recruitment. Turntine's ranked higher than Lee. He's the number 42 overall prospect in the country. Listed as an interior guy, Michigan has talked to him more about playing tackle. He's one of the most athletic and versatile offensive linemen in the country. Really a three-team race here. Looking like a decision will come in early July, potentially July 4th, which is the same decision date as Travis Johnson. Texas A&M, they're the in-state schools. They're right there, but Michigan giving him a lot to think about, not just from an NIL perspective, but Turntine, an elite academic student. I believe he's top 10 in his class. And so education's a big selling point, and also offensive line development. Michigan has a track record of putting offensive linemen in the league. You have, several guys on staff from Sharon Moore to Juan Castillo that have an offensive line background and have had success. So I think Michigan is still a very much a true contender in the Turntine recruitment. All right, let's finish it off on the defensive side of the ball. And let's talk about Carter Meadows. I think coming out of this visit, Michigan is right up there with Ohio State. You obviously have Penn State still involved. South Carolina still involved. I think Carter Meadows fits Michigan. He really does. Just talking to him, talking to his family, he has that Michigan kid type of personality. He really values education. He goes to one of the top high schools in the country in Gonzaga. Michigan has had success there with Evan Link, Kainoa Winston. Michigan did a fantastic job of selling the Ross School of Business this weekend. I had talked to Meadows' father, Michael, who had nothing but great things to say about the academic and life after football opportunities at Michigan. And again, the Ross School of Business was such a focal point this weekend. You had representatives from the school meet with Meadows and his family. They got a tour of everything. So I think Michigan definitely checked the box from an education standpoint and then a development standpoint. I mean, you look at Michigan's track record of putting pass rushers in the league. You look at Wink Martindale's resume, having worked with high-level pass rushers in the NFL. You look at Lou Esposito's resume of doing more with less. You give him a guy like Carter Meadows, it would be really exciting to see what he can blossom into under a guy like Esposito. So while Ohio State is also a high-level blue blood program, just like Michigan, the deciding factor here might not be NIL. I think that's really what people think of when they think of five-star guys. The deciding factor here might be education and academics, and Michigan, the far superior school. I mean, much better of an academic institution than Ohio State, and that has to make a difference in the Carter Meadows recruitment. All right, guys, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel for free, get notifications every time we drop new videos, and also subscribe to the Wolverine.com today. Use the promo code UM1. That's $1 for 2 months over at the Wolverine.com. Get exclusive insider information on everything Michigan recruiting. A lot of commitments coming up, so tune into the channel. Head over to the Wolverine.com, and we'll see you guys next week.